Hey everyone, welcome back to Lazy Cat Reactions, episode 13 of season 2 of Heartland, Seismic Shifts. Lou goes head to head with Big Alberta Oil when seismic surveyors force their way onto Heartland. And as we know about Lou, she is a force to be reckoned with. So we know that they're probably going to regret trying to force their way onto Heartland with Lou around. Yeah, probably not going to be a good thing. As we saw in some previous episodes, it looked like Amy had decided she was going to move on with Caleb, but then she went to Caleb's house and Ashley was there. Now, she didn't go in and see her, she just saw Ashley's car. And as I've said, that doesn't guarantee anything, you know. Maybe Ashley was just there hanging out. Maybe they were playing video games, just having a beer. It doesn't necessarily mean that they were bumping uglies or anything. So, we'll probably find out more about that. Ty, of course, is still dating Kit, but as we know, his heart lies with Amy. And he still proves that in the way he acts, because the way he acts, he's still very much catering to Amy. So, almost done with season 2. Hopefully I will finish it this week. And then of course I'll be starting season 3. Netflix says that season 14 is coming on Friday, so yay on that. I am hoping that I will be able to completely finish the series next year. I mean, here I'm getting close to finishing season 2, so I'll be starting season 3 here in the month of April, which this will probably go up sometime in the month of April, maybe May, I'm not sure. But yeah, I hope to start season 3 in April, and if I do about a season a month, then yeah, it would probably be sometime next year when I would finish, provided of course that they get season 15 next year. I know that they have not been getting them on a yearly basis, because when I first discovered Heartland a year or so ago, it said like 11 seasons and had the date of 2017 on here, and I thought, oh wow. But somehow through scrolling or whatnot, I found out that they actually had more seasons. They just hadn't been there on Netflix. And then the next time I looked, I saw that they had 13 seasons listed with the date of 2019. And now, of course, we see season 14 coming Friday. So season 14 would have been probably 2020. And as we know, this is 2022. So they're showing Heartland through 2019, season 14 coming Friday, which would be 2020. So they're running about a year or two behind. So ideally then, next year, as I approach the latter seasons, ideally then season 15 will post. Will there be a season 16? Hopefully. But yeah, then hopefully then they will get season 15 so that I can just basically wrap everything up. Otherwise, obviously, I will have to find something else to do. Anyway, let's get started. Oh, and Lou is also emailing a guy now. And she broke up with Mark. So pretty. Oh, here's the surveyors. Yeah, they can't just force their way on private property.
Is that what I think it is?
Yeah. Cinnamon bun soup.
You know, my wife would call these coronaries in a basket.
Well, giving all the goodies to Gus.
Apparently Amy did talk with Caleb, or he saw her or something, because at the end of the last episode she hadn't even gotten out of the car. She just pulled up, saw Ashley's car, and took off. And then of course he's coming in saying this about she just spent the night and we just talked. So yeah, either he saw her or he somehow talked with Amy and she had said something about Ashley, which is then why he's coming to say to her, you know, Ashley spent the night, because otherwise how would she know? She would have had to have said something, because otherwise he could have been like, nothing happened, she wasn't there, how would you know? I like Caleb, I just obviously don't like that he's a barrier for Amy and Ty. But since I know Amy and Ty are going to get together, I can live with it. So, are she and Caleb done? I don't know. Because Caleb's a bit of a player, as we know. And I don't know that he would necessarily be faithful to Amy if they did start a real relationship. He might be. He might be the type that, yeah, he's a player, but when he's in a relationship, he's cool. Don't know. But, again, same thing. If he goes out with Ashley, would he be faithful to her? Or would he hit on someone else? Like, continue with Amy or hit on someone else? I don't know. Personally, I could see him doing well with Ashley. Now, we saw Ashley kind of with Ben. I think it was Ben, or was it Nick? I think it was Ben. But Ben really hasn't been in the second season. And Ashley herself is a bit of a whore, as we know. That's why she's hot, Ash. And so, since she is a bit of a whore, she obviously doesn't mind bouncing from guy to guy because she was interested in Ty. And while she was interested in Ty, she was also, like, flirting with Ben. And I think she was flirting with Nick a little bit. And now, of course, there's Caleb. So there's no shortage of men for her to flirt with. Which is funny because it's supposed to be kind of like a small area, but yet there's like all these available men. And I'm just kind of like, where all these available men come from, you know? Anyways, let's keep going.
First off, the place about the side of your shoe closet. It smells like a locker room.
Oh, I don't care about that stuff.
Yeah, you do.
Please, look, I promise I won't grab your style, and it's just till I can. Are you worried you're gonna sully my reputation?
I'm worried you're gonna sell me mine.
That's kind of the point. Oh, jeez. How much shit did she bring?
Nice.
A lot.
We can't just sit back.
I like the robe. You know, Ty has really become part of the family. You know, they took him in, and he really cares because, you know, he's like, that's it, I'm going over there. I mean, like, he's not a ranch hand. He never really was, even though, of course, he was working. The first episode or two, yeah, but then he just kind of integrated himself into the family and became a part of it. And so now, of course, he's pretty much a full Heartlandian. Is that what you'd say? Heartlander? And it's great to see. You know, that's his home, that's his property, too. So, you know, he's like, that's what I'm going over there. He's like, these guys don't have guns. And I'm like, well, how do you know? It might be in their trucks. Makes you wonder what Ty would have said had he gone. But it's also nice to see that he did listen to Amy. Would he have listened had that been Kit? Don't know. But he did listen to Amy when she said, no, there's other ways to handle this. So the men did bring fishing gear, but obviously are not fishing because they're with Bedford Oil. And that PW obviously is Peter. But wouldn't he have recognized Lou's name when she said Lou, or did she use initials too, you know, or did she use her first name and not Lou? Because I would think he would recognize Lou. But him, I've seen in at least one Hallmark Christmas movie. I cannot think of the name. If any of you do know what Hallmark Christmas movies he's been in, please let me know in the comments. But I know he's been in at least one, maybe two, because I know I've seen it. I don't know if it was one where he got the girl or if he was a side character. But I know I've seen him in one or two. Again, let me know in the comments if you know. And if he's been in several, just list them all. And Val, of course, you know, you don't know what's up with Val. She acts like she's their friend. And then goes ahead and does things like, you really think that you can stop him and Lou's like, no, I want to change it. And yeah, sometimes one person can change. Sometimes one person can make a difference. Sometimes all it takes is one voice. Usually no. Usually it takes a lot. But if you get one person to stand up, then usually you get other people to stand up. So let's keep going. They're throwing them out. She was all excited for a few more days, thinking that they were real customers. Yeah, I think they figured it out.
Full until tomorrow, and you just can't kick us out.
Oh,
Yeah, they
yes,
can.
she can.
Yeah, Caleb. It's interesting that he is Peter, and that he's the Bedford oil guy, but he did seem to either like, I don't think he was like mocking her when he was applauding. I think he really did like what she was saying, and she does make valid points. I think he does too. I think he does want to kind of build a community. I do like how he said that they are compensated, so if there is any land that's destroyed or whatnot, they will pay for it. That does help. Of course, it is still disruptive. These guys have their horses that are going to go through a lot of trauma with the noise and everything. But, you know, I like that they are willing to work with the people of Hudson. And she makes some valid points. Now I'm thinking what they should hopefully be able to do is form some sort of compromise. You know, like they make sure, yeah, they're compensated for anything that happens, but like she said, make sure that drinking water isn't affected or depleted. You know, obviously they can work out deals. You know, companies do this all the time. And if they drill for oil and they find it, then yeah, then these guys, they become a very rich town because then they reap the benefits, especially whosever land they find it on, they would reap the benefits. And that would have to be something that would be drawn up in a contract too. You know, like let's say they found oil on Jack's property. Well, then they draw up some sort of agreement that Jack maintains like 80% of the money or something, you know, whatever would work for that. They may not want to agree to that, but it's like, well, then you don't have access to the land. So you either agree with it and take your chance, or you don't get anything at all. Obviously they know what to do. They know a lot more than I do on this. But yeah, you know, there's obviously ways that you can go ahead and compromise. And that's what you have to do, especially when you're dealing with a company like that. Now, he did say they were a small company, but obviously they are very well established, especially if they can go ahead and compensate people, even thousands or millions of dollars for any damage. I also noticed it was interesting that there's this whole like town meeting. Val wasn't there, Ashley wasn't there, Caleb wasn't there. I wouldn't really expect Ashley to be there, but since Caleb does work for Heartland and lives there, you would think he would have been there. Ty was there. Mallory was there. Soraya was not though. And neither was Maggie. But still, you think some of them would have been there. Scott wasn't there either, which is a little alarming. And neither was Mark. So maybe not everyone, but maybe it's more for the ranchers and stuff. And obviously they're not, but let's keep going.
Not believe the number of signatures I got on this petition last night.
Good.
And it looks like we got the ear of our MLA.
Oh, they're locked in. There's some tractors there.
Dad, what is going on
Are
here?
you responsible for this?
Found out what these guys were drilling. Been following them since this morning.
But I thought
I know. What you're doing. No, you listen.
Come on. Jack heard all that. You know, if he volunteered to still go through with the date, because obviously he did. I think one thing, because he said, you know, oh, if it was a different situation or a different life or something, because I think he does like her spunkiness, her determination. Those are things obviously that Peter liked. And I think, you know, he was willing, of course, to go through it, and they could have talked. And like I said, maybe have come to a compromise. You know, they wouldn't have necessarily had to always talk about work if they went through that dinner. But if nothing else, it could have been something to negotiate to help further a relationship, even if it didn't work out personally for them, at least have a professional relationship with them and Bedford Oil. So, was Lou in the wrong? Personally, I think so. You know, it doesn't hurt to take the opportunity to have your voice be heard again. You know, I probably would have stayed. I would have stayed and been like, you know what? You're buying the meal. Make sure I get the free meal. You're buying the meal. And yeah, let's talk. Maybe she would have realized that, yeah, this guy actually is pretty decent, pretty charming. Maybe they would have found that they do have other stuff in common. But I don't think we've seen the last of him. I think he's going to be around for a bit.
I just have to say, I am so happy you guys worked things out.
Mallory.
No. Don't thank me. But if you do want to buy me a little present, I'll happily accept.
Mallory, it's over between
Nothing big.
us.
A box of chocolate, a pair of earrings. What did you just say?
I said it's over between us. I can't be with a liar.
Okay. Ty may not be perfect, but he is not.
The Heathcliff to your Catherine. Pretty much true. Wouldn't you recognize that leather jacket? Because it's the same one he had on earlier.
Hey, you're still here.
Yeah. Like Boyle.
So, keep things interesting, right? I mean,
That's true.
Never.
How do you know? Opposites attract. I knew he was gonna kiss her.
yeah, but that was nice, wasn't it?
That is beside the point.
Beside the point.
No, it's okay, it's okay.
Okay.
Go, Lou! Now she is. We are definitely going to see Peter again. I haven't looked up to see who it is that Lou actually marries. You know, the problem is when you get into a show late, you tend to find a lot of spoilers. And that's pretty common. I haven't luckily seen that much about Heartland, I think. Maybe because I'm only in season 2, but I may have already joined a Heartland group on Facebook, I don't remember. But I find that when I watch a show, I usually start looking stuff up. Like I'll look up stuff about the character or whatnot, or a certain character, and then I'll find out stuff that I shouldn't find out. It's kind of like what happened with Downton Abbey when I watched that, because I found out about what happened between Mary and Matthew, and I'm not putting out any spoilers in case people haven't seen it. I do definitely recommend watching Downton Abbey if you have not, but I just happened to be kind of like looking something up. I couldn't tell you what it was, and I found out something crucial. And I was kind of kicking myself because of it. I was like, damn it, why did I do this? But that's kind of me. Like I tend to, when I get invested, I kind of tend to like start looking things up, and even if like I want to look up about the actor, then I find out things regarding the character. So I've been lucky so far that I haven't figured that much out. Just seeing like random pictures, like pictures that I use for these videos when you see the cover when the videos start. Sometimes when I'm going through and searching for a photo to use, I might see a photo that will reveal something that obviously I haven't seen. Like, you know, maybe like I know I have seen one of Lou where she is pregnant. So I know at some point she does become pregnant. And like I said, right now, the cover photo for Heartland is Amy and Ty with a little girl. So I know at some point they get married and have a child. So I know that. So I know at some point. So it's kind of like, is that a spoiler? Yeah. But at the same time, it's not, because I know that that's what's going to happen. So Peter might be Lou's real romance. I don't know. But, you know, I was just thinking about it, and I'm like, again, Hudson's supposed to not be that big, but they have a lot of single characters in it. And also, Lou's kind of a slut. Because she goes from her old boyfriend, was that Clint? Is that who's in this? No, that's not Clint. Was it Curtis? Whatever her boyfriend's name was, whose name escapes me. You had him in New York. Now, granted, I don't think she was really in love with him. I think it was more because he was there, he had the same interests and stuff as her. But you had him. She goes from him to Scott. Then from Scott to Mark. And now pretty much from Mark to Peter. And that's all in 2 seasons. And I'm kind of like, Lou, you're kind of a slut. And you could say that it's kind of rebound. Her relationship with her first boyfriend, again, I don't think she was really in love with him. So I don't really know if I would count Scott as a rebound. I think she loved Scott. And so when they broke up, yeah, it became more of a rebound. Mark was a rebound. Did she like Mark? Yeah. Was there a future? I was hoping there was, but it didn't happen. Peter might be her future. Now, is he a rebound off the rebound? Maybe. But you know, sometimes people do rebound and they fall in love with the person that they're rebounding with. It does happen. So you shouldn't necessarily rule it out. You know, people say, oh, rebounds are bad because someone gets hurt, and that is true, but it doesn't always happen. So episode 13 is done. I'm going to go and start episode 14 here. If you enjoyed this reaction, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Hit the notification bell to be alerted for when new videos post, whether it's to Heartland or other reactions to movies and TV shows. In addition to that, if you are so inclined, please check out my other reactions that I have. I have got some movies such as Charlie Says and Rebecca, and TV shows such as Chucky and Good Witch, so please go ahead and check those out. So much more coming down the pipeline. If you can, and I know times are tough for everyone right now, but if you can, please support me on Patreon. You'll notice that there are 4 different levels ranging from $3 up to $25. If you support me on Patreon, I can start using Patreon a little more and start granting you some exclusive content. Maybe, you know, get involved in live chats so we can chat about things, talk about maybe future shows to discuss, fandom ships, stuff like that. Speaking of fandom ships, I am considering adding Lazy Cat on Twitch. I have a personal Twitch, which I'm thinking I might switch over to Lazy Cat. So in that case, then yeah, we would go ahead and discuss the episodes and the shows and movies that I have been reacting to. So again, I may go ahead and add that on Twitch. And you, of course, would be welcome to join me for those live streams. If you're watching this on Rumble, please head over to YouTube to check the video out and get my numbers up, but please change your VPN as these videos are being partially blocked in the US, Australia, and New Zealand. If somehow you did change your VPN and you are seeing this on YouTube, you may want to head over to Rumble and again increase views on there as well on that platform. I am also now on Odyssey, so you can go over there as well and get me some subscribers so I can start getting monetization there. Tell your friends about my channel if you can. Tell your enemies. I do not discriminate. I have really enjoyed Heartland so far, and I hope you are too. As I said, I'm going to start episode 14 here. I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.